Hi, my name's Robbie Samuels. I'm a virtual event design consultant and executive Zoom producer. I help national and statewide advocacy organizations strategically bring their events online with less stress and greater participant engagement. And today I'm going to be talking about the difference between Zoom webinar and Zoom meeting. And this is a question that came from a participant in my No More Bad Zoom virtual happy hour, which is something I've been hosting every week since March 13th, 2020. So I understand this confusion because they're both Zoom products. This platforms actually look very similar, but there's a couple of main differences. So one really big difference is that Zoom meetings allow you to see participants when you're the presenter and allows participants to see each other as well. Zoom webinar, you don't have participants. They're actually called attendees because they don't have cameras. They're not actually participating, they're attending. So slight change of word, but big change in meaning. So when you're thinking about what to choose, think about what is the purpose of your event. If you're going to have less than 1,000 people, you have the option to have Zoom meetings. The cap is 1,000. You can go way higher than that with Zoom webinar. So if you have under 200, I would say you probably want to be using Zoom meetings. There's a few instances maybe where Zoom webinar would be better, but generally webinar is a lot less engaging. Attendees don't get as much interaction from the presenter. The presenter often stays behind their slides and isn't likely to interact as much with the audience. And it's a little more like the 45 minutes of death by PowerPoint followed by ineffectual Q&A and no one moderating chat. And we don't really love that model. Never did, still don't. So I would err towards using Zoom meetings. One other thing about Zoom webinar is that you actually need to sign up your panelists. So presenters are called panelists, and each panelist gets their own unique link. So there's the registration page where the attendees will register and get their sign-in link, and then you have to, when you set up the webinar, you need to send the link and basically register the panelists for them, and then they get a special link. This is important because you need to be able to help make sure your panelists know how to get into the webinar. The good news is that you can have them join early before the room is officially open to the attendees. There's not really a waiting room per se, but there's an opportunity to go and practice in the room before you sort of publish it to the web. So that's really want to get people in. Now, whether it's a webinar or a meeting, it's really important that as the presenter, the panelists, that you look at the camera, because even when you're sharing your slides, they're still able to see you. So definitely make sure you're practicing that kind of behavior. You're turning off the slides and talking to the camera as much as possible. So that's a basic differences. One is max capacity for a Zoom meeting is 1,000. You also can't do breakout rooms for webinar. You have actually an option for Q&A in webinar that you don't have in meetings, and there's a few other sort of minor differences, but the basic ones is whether or not you can have your cameras on and see your participants and all of that. So I hope this was helpful to distinguish between the two. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out or ask a question below, and I'll talk to you soon.